A profound sense of shock and grief has enveloped Washington, D.C. today, May 22, 2025. News has emerged of a devastating act of violence outside the Capitol Jewish Museum. Two bright lights, Yaronlischinsky and sarahmilgrim, were extinguished far too soon. They were more than just colleagues, they were a couple deeply in love. Their lives were filled with promise and a shared vision for the future. This future was cruelly snatched away in a senseless attack. The city mourns their loss, a loss that feels both personal and deeply symbolic. Yaron and Sarah were reportedly on the cusp of a joyous new chapter in their lives. Friends and family whispered of an imminent engagement. Their bond was strong, built on shared values and mutual respect. Instead of celebrations, there are now preparations for memorials. The dreams they held, both individually and as a couple, have been tragically cut short. They were simply in the wrong place at the wrong time, targeted for reasons that speak to a chilling ideology. Yaron and Sarah represented hope and dedication, both in their personal lives and their professional endeavors. Their work at the Israeli embassy was a testament to their commitment. Their love story, though tragically interrupted, will not be forgotten. Yaronlischinsky was known as a dedicated public servant. He brought a quiet intensity and unwavering commitment to his role at the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C. His colleagues remember him as a professional who was deeply knowledgeable and passionate about his work. He believed in the importance of diplomacy and strong international relations. Yaron approached his responsibilities with a seriousness of purpose that earned him respect from all who worked alongside him. His contributions, though often behind the scenes, were significant. He was a vital part of the embassy's mission, working tirelessly to represent his country. His background was one of service and a deep-seated belief in the values he represented. Yaron understood the complexities of the geopolitical landscape. He navigated these challenges with skill and a steadfast resolve. His work was not just a job, it was a calling. He was committed to fostering understanding and cooperation. Friends describe him as thoughtful and articulate, always willing to engage in meaningful dialogue. His legacy will endure in the memories of those he touched and the important work to which he devoted his professional life. Sarahmilgrim was a vibrant and passionate individual. She also served at the Israeli embassy, working alongside Yaronlischinsky. However, Sarah was particularly distinguished by her profound dedication to peace-building initiatives. She tirelessly worked on projects aimed at fostering understanding and reconciliation between Palestinians and Israelis. Her commitment to this cause was not merely professional, it was deeply personal. She believed fervently in the possibility of a peaceful future, one where dialogue and empathy could overcome generations of conflict. Her efforts were focused on creating tangible pathways towards that future. Her work involved connecting people, facilitating difficult conversations, and supporting grassroots movements dedicated to coexistence. Sarah was known for her optimism and her unwavering belief in the good of humanity, even in the face of immense challenges. She approached her peace-building work with creativity and a deep sense of empathy. Colleagues admired her tenacity and her ability to inspire hope in others. Her life, though cut short, serves as a powerful testament to the enduring importance of working towards a more just and peaceful world. Yaronlischinsky and sarahmilgrim were not just colleagues, their lives were beautifully intertwined in a loving relationship. They shared a deep connection, built on mutual admiration, shared ideals, and a common hope for the future. Friends and family have spoken of a couple that radiated happiness and contentment. They supported each other in their demanding careers at the Israeli embassy, understanding the pressures and commitments involved. Their bond was a source of strength for both, a private sanctuary amidst the complexities of their public service. The news that they were on the verge of engagement adds an almost unbearable layer of sorrow to this tragedy. They were planning a life together, looking forward to formalizing their commitment and building a shared future. The dreams they nurtured, of family, of continued service, and of growing old together, will now remain unfulfilled. Their unfulfilled future now stands as a stark testament to the senselessness of the violence that tore them apart. Section 5. Horror unfolds. The attack at the museum. The afternoon of May 22, 2025 began like any other in the bustling heart of Washington, D.C. However, this sense of normalcy was shattered by an act of horrific violence. outside the Capitol Jewish Museum, a place dedicated to history, culture, and community, shots rang out. Panic ensued as pedestrians and visitors sought safety. In these moments of terror, Yaronlischinsky and sarahmilgrim found themselves directly in the path of a gunman. Their lives, filled with purpose and love, were ended in an instant, victims of a targeted and hateful assault. The details of the shooting are still emerging, but it is clear that this was not a random act. The choice of location, a significant Jewish cultural institution, suggests a deliberate targeting. Yaron and Sarah, individuals who worked for the Israeli embassy, became the unfortunate victims of this premeditated violence. The attack was swift and brutal, leaving little chance for escape or intervention. The suddenness of the event has left the community in a state of profound shock and disbelief. Section 6. The perpetrator, eliasrodriguez and his motives. The individual identified as the alleged shooter in this heinous attack is eliasrodriguez. Reports indicate that during the assault, Rodriguez was heard shouting extremist slogans. Witnesses have stated he yelled, "Free, free Palestine," as he opened fire. This chilling declaration provides a disturbing insight into the possible motivations behind this violent act. It suggests a deep-seated animosity and a twisted justification for targeting individuals associated with Israel or Jewish institutions. Authorities are now meticulously investigating Rodriguez's background. A significant piece of evidence that has emerged is an anti-Israel manifesto allegedly penned by him. This document is being carefully examined by law enforcement agencies, including the FBI, to understand the full extent of his radicalization and the planning that may have gone into this attack. The community demands answers and accountability for this senseless loss of life. Section 7. A community reeling in disbelief. The news of the shooting outside the Capitol Jewish Museum sent immediate shockwaves through Washington, D.C. and far beyond. The initial moments were filled with confusion and fear. As the reality of what transpired became clear, disbelief turned to profound grief and anger. The Jewish community in D.C., already contending with a rise in anti-Semitic incidents globally, felt this attack with particular pain. The Capitol Jewish Museum is more than just a building. It is a center for cultural heritage, education, and community gathering. An attack at such a location feels like an assault on the very fabric of the community. Vigils are being planned and messages of solidarity are pouring in from across the city and the nation, offering some solace amidst the overwhelming sorrow. Colleagues of Yaronlischinsky and sarahmilgrim at the Israeli embassy are in a state of deep mourning. The loss of two dedicated members of their team in such a violent manner is a heavy blow. Section 8. The cruel irony, a peacemaker's violent demise. Perhaps the most heart-wrenching aspect of this tragedy is the cruel irony surrounding sarahmilgrim's death. Sarah had dedicated a significant part of her professional life to peace-building initiatives. She passionately worked to bridge the divides between Palestinians and Israelis, fostering dialogue and understanding. Her father, in his profound grief, poignantly noted this tragic paradox, that his daughter, who so fervently championed peace and reconciliation, would herself become a victim of such brutal, hate-fueled violence. This irony is a bitter pill for her loved ones, and for all who knew of her tireless efforts. Sarah's work was the antithesis of the violence that ended her life. She believed in the power of conversation, empathy, and shared humanity to overcome conflict. She actively sought to build connections where others saw only division. Her initiatives were designed to dismantle prejudice and to cultivate a future where coexistence was not just a dream but a reality. Despite this devastating loss, Sarah's legacy of peace-building must endure. Section 9. Confronting hate, security, sentiment, and remembrance. The tragic deaths of Yaronlischinsky and sarahmilgrim have ignited urgent discussions across Washington, D.C. and beyond. One of the immediate concerns revolves around security measures. Jewish institutions, which have unfortunately become targets of hate crimes in the past, are reevaluating their security protocols. The attack outside the Capitol Jewish Museum, a prominent cultural landmark, highlights the vulnerability of such public spaces. Similarly, diplomatic missions and their personnel are facing renewed scrutiny regarding their safety in an increasingly polarized global environment. Enhanced vigilance and proactive security strategies are now paramount. Beyond physical security, this incident forces a difficult confrontation with the rising tide of anti-Israel sentiment and its potential to fuel violence. The alleged perpetrator, eliasrodriguez, and his reported shouts and manifesto point directly to a motivation rooted in extreme anti-Israel views that can morph into anti-Semitism and a willingness to commit heinous acts. It is crucial for communities and leaders to address the rhetoric that demonizes and delegitimizes, as such language can create a permissive environment for hatred to fester and escalate into violence.